Dear friends, let's continue and conclude the last part of the holomen between the desire and the spasm. Desire, the will. Spasm, actually just a sudden outburst of activity or emotion. So see how this, first of all, let me finish between the potency, ability, quality, and the existence. You know that if you see me, it means I am in existence. Whatever we see in front of us, that is living. It means that thing is in existence. So potency, the power, you can say that driving force that help us perform, and the existence, that life. Between the ascent and the descent falls the shadow. It falls the shadow, we can say that has become the refrain of this very particular poem. Refrain, that part that is time and again repeated in a song, in a music, in a certain composition, holding the key point of that composition is called actually refrain. R-E-F-R-A-I-N. So see how this hollow man is in a kind of dilemma. How is he in a kind of complication and is unable to come out of his own complication? He wants to perform, but somehow he is unable to perform. He has the desire. He has will. He wants to perform, but spasm. He's unable to do that. If you just remember Shakespeare's Hamlet, situation is quite similar. Hamlet does not know what to do, to be or not to be, that is the question. To some extent he knows that his uncle is the killer of his father, but somehow there is something that stops him. There's something that prevents him from taking revenge. To some extent this situation is same here. This hollow man is standing at the bank of a certain river. Maybe it is Styx River or Charon River, and without crossing it, he cannot go to the other world with his other companions. But he does not want to cross it. Why? Because he does not want to face, he's not prepared to face the judgment, because he knows that he'll be judged on the day of the judgment. So, see how the modern man post World War I was confused, he suffered a total or complete breakdown. It was a breakdown of emotion, it was the breakdown of the feelings, breakdown of understanding, breakdown of the religion. Almost everything had become fragmented, complete fragmentation. So he has the desire, he is caught in between desire and spasm activity. He does not know, he has desire but does not know how to act. Same, see, between the potency and existence. Now here we have that philosophy related to existentialism. philosophers of existentialism, they often have a long, you can say, just a long deliberate discussion between existence and essence. Essence, the ability, the quality that help us to see, that help us to perform. So they often, just philosophers of existentialism like Sartre and so many others, they go on discussing on and on, relating to all that, or related to all that, that what came first, essence, the ability, or the existence? Does the essence stay out of existence, so on and so forth? So this Holloman is confused between the potency and existence. He is confused whether he has the potential, whether he has his existence. To some extent, he is probably unaware of his own existence. And if for a long time we are not able to do something, for a moment we slip into a kind of a confusion, or slip into a kind of a state where we get confused whether we are in existence or not. And if we are not in existence, it means we do not have that potential, that driving force to do something. Same is the case here. Between the ascent and the descent falls the shadow. So their confusion, their inability has created a kind of a, you can say, curtain, or created a kind of a screen, or created something in front of them, or in front of him. And it's all because of that. He's unable to understand his existence, and unable to understand his ability to do something. Why? Because complete breakdown of spirituality. Spirituality has almost, you can say, come to an end. They are no longer, there is a complete breakdown of the religion, and with that, spirituality. And it was the after effect of the World War I. Eliot wrote this poem after his conversion to Anglican Church. So maybe he may have read Bible, he may have understood the philosophy and so many other things related to the Christianity, related to this religion, so on and so forth. And it's all because of that. All is here finding reflection in this very particular poem, where he actually wishes and hopes for a spiritual reawakening. Why? Because these people, just people of the world, post-World War I, just a generation or society, or the European world were almost spiritually dead. And it's all because of that. They had these kind of problems. So, falls the shadow, for thine is the kingdom, for thine is life, for thine is. See this. See here the length of the line. See here the length of the line. For thine is life, for thine is the sea. Here now we see the breakdown of the language itself. Here the language has also broken down. Language has also lost its meaning and significance. Why? Because I told you that they suffer from a kind of what? Suffer a kind of a miscommunication. They lack communication. They are unable to communicate. People were unable to communicate. Why? Because the scenario, the situation was so grim that they were unable to what? Communicate. And the result is that here, see, just as in Shakespeare's Macbeth, Act 2, Scene 2, Macbeth is unable to utter the Lord's Prayer. Why? Because the Lord's Prayer gets stuck in his throat. In the same manner, see here, the Solomon is unable to complete the line, unable to utter the prayer. Why? Because complete breakdown of the language, complete breakdown of he is spiritually dead, and it's all because of that he's unable to do that. And see, once again, just in the above lines, we see just a nursery rhyme, and how Eliot just subverts or give the subversion of that nursery rhyme. Again, we have the subversion of a nursery rhyme. What? And most popular lines also of Eliot. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the subversion of a nursery rhyme. This is the way we brush our teeth, brush our teeth, brush our teeth. This is the way we brush our teeth. Again, a very famous nursery rhyme in which just the children say that how do they wake up and brush their teeth and start for their school. But here again there is a subversion of that, and he says this way the world is going to end, means we are not going to receive a glorified end or glorified death, but will die. This world will end not with a great bang, means explosion, but with a very weak, feeble sound of pain and suffering. This world will end. See, when Eliot wrote this poem, he did not have that hydrogen bomb in his own mind. See what happened in the year 1944-45. This poem was written in the year 1925, 2 years later after his just conversion or his confirmation to Anglican Church. Exactly after 20 years of the composition of this poem, America probably had dropped the hydrogen bomb upon the certain cities of Japan, and you know the outcome of that bombing. So probably it is said that in 1958 around, Eliot was asked whether he was going to write this line once again, and probably he had answered no. Why? Because he had seen how the world had changed in the next 20 years. Scenario was absolutely different. So I hope, dear learners, you must have understood the concluding lines of the part 5th of this poem. Provided that you find some complications, do let me know.